This video will be an unscripted video on my thoughts on the themes of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I haven't really heard anyone talk about the themes in exactly the way that I think about them. I will present them as I see them. One thing that runs throughout all 5 books and other stuff radio series is obviously the absurd. It's funny because it's absurd. However, as a lot of people have rightly pointed out, this absurdity is part of the fundamental nature of the ideas in the book. So one could see it as like a nihilist kind of thing where, oh, the universe is just so absurd we can't make any sense of it. And maybe that's true, but I think it's a bit more nuanced than that. The most well-known joke from the book is one about the answer to life, the universe, and everything being 42. And this is making fun of how much we and even hyper-intelligent pan-dimensional beings know about the universe, which is very little. And even the most intelligent supercomputer ever made couldn't find out the actual question, but only an answer which doesn't make sense to anyone. And I think the thing about this joke is that it's in line with like everything else in the series. A lot of the jokes end with expectation subversion. And the point of that is that living in the universe, you will have your hopes of a clear answer or deep meaning will be subverted by the absurd nature of the universe. So this is all still in line with kind of dark nihilistic humor, but I don't actually think that that is the nature of the book. What makes me think this is especially the 4th and 5th books in the series. In these, I initially didn't enjoy them as much because they weren't as funny. They were less crazy and they had more of an emotional edge to them. They almost had some kind of spirituality, despite Douglas Adams being an atheist. So what is this feeling that we get from these last 2 books? Well, the 4th book is mostly just an entire set of coincidences that are far too coincidental to be coincidences. First of all, the girl at the beginning of the book who found out the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Well, the 4th book is her story, right? There seems to be just all these coincidences that happen, obviously by design, for the plot's sake, by Adams. And he knew that since the world he presented was so absurd that we would take any coincidence, no matter how big. That's part of the joke. But by the end of that, I was feeling like it couldn't be just coincidence. And that's kind of the point. We could look at something so absurd and think it couldn't just be accident. It had to have some kind of meaning. And the point lies in not knowing which one it is, I think. So not knowing if something was planned by God or something like that, or if it was just random chance. The confluence of these 2 ideas, or the space between these 2 ideas, is where possibly it doesn't matter which one it is, and possibly these 2 things are not as far apart as they seem. In the 5th book, spoilers, everyone dies. Arthur dies. And I know Douglas Adams didn't like this ending, but I actually did. And I think it was because it was a resolution to this problem. Because at the end, Arthur finally understood. He died peacefully, knowing and understanding, and it was the only time in the series that Arthur actually knows what's going on. I really enjoyed Fenchurch's character, and then she just disappears for absolutely no reason. But they do discover God's final message to his creation before they leave. And like the answer to life, the universe, and everything, God's final message to his creation is kind of underwhelming as well. But Marvin, when he, spoiler, dies, does say that it makes sense. And Fenchurch says that it was the thing that she found out before her memory was lost. The ending of the restaurant at the end of the universe is also interesting, because that was the ending of the original radio and TV series. It features Ford and Arthur playing Scrabble, and they get 42. They're on prehistoric Earth, and they know that the Earth was created to find the ultimate question to the ultimate answer. And it seems like they're so close. It seems that they're very close to finding something extremely deep, but in the end they throw up their hands and walk away into the sunset or whatever, with what a wonderful what a wonderful world playing and the credits rolling. So that's kind of another, but the thing is, like, it couldn't be literally meaningless because there were so many coincidences that were hinting at something having greater meaning. So I think that the core of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is that the universe has no rational explanation. Existence has no rational explanation. If you try to look for a rational explanation, you'll get 42. Or you will prove that God doesn't exist, but get run over at the nearest zebra crossing. But there are so many coincidences and things that are painfully close to fitting everything together that you can't really believe that the universe is literally meaningless. And the point is to live in this area of uncertainty between not knowing, between wondering whether something is random and whether it has meaning, and the fact that you can't really differentiate these two things. I don't know if Douglas Adams would agree with this interpretation, but it's just my own, and I think it's very interesting. Possibly the feeling of spirituality that I felt in the later books was because spirituality is kind of about finding meaning in non-rational ways, phenomenologically. But anyway, that was my thoughts on a very good series of books.